how are you doing? We have a lot to talk about. I've just watched the first part of the two-part finale of season 1 of Doctor Who, The Legend of Ruby Sunday. I've watched it for the second time actually but I was going to watch it at midnight and then I just got too tired and had to watch it today. But I'm glad I did in the end because the ending was so terrifying. I don't think I'd have been able to sleep afterwards. So, good call past me. But, yeah, oh, what an episode. I can't wait to talk about this with you. But yeah, I just had to watch it twice because I enjoyed it that much. I watched it once, watched Unleashed, watched a load of reviews on it, then watched it again. I'm just obsessed with it. I'd not even Doctor Who'd out because it was just that good. I could watch it a million more times, but I'm not going to because I need to, pretend that I have a life. But yeah, let's just get right into it. There's a lot to talk about, so let's dive in. This episode sees a lot of returns back, mainly being Kate Stewart, Mel and Rose. Mel and Rose don't have much to do, if we're honest, but especially Rose, but it was great to see her, and the chemistry in Ncuti was fantastic. Mel played a bit more of a part in the story, getting the samples from Susan Triad, and Kate. What an episode this was for Kate, by the way. I think this was personally the best episode ever for Kate, and her character. I think the acting was phenomenal from Gemma Redgrave. But I feel like her chemistry with this doctor is one of the best. I think her with Capaldi and now Gatwa as well, I think it's just off the scale. But also I feel like she just has a lot more to do. I feel like in the Matt Smith era and in previous episodes, she called the doctor when she didn't know what to do, and when UNIT was at a bit of a loss. And they'd fire some guns and then the doctor would kind of fix it. But this time, the doctor really needed UNIT's help and Kate's help, and we saw her on a much deeper level as a friend and as a companion to the doctor, which is really great to see. That look that she gave the doctor when the soldier died was absolutely just piercing. It was brutal and perfect for that moment. The humour as well between them, the humour was brilliant. We very rarely see that with Kate, so it was really good to see. And then the emotional moments about when they have that convo about Susan and the doctor's granddaughter, really powerful emotional moments. It was great to see. And then even again, still in this first scene, just Nshuti's intros to all the characters was so wholesome and warm to see, and I think that's simply because he's such a lovely guy naturally. He just gives off this energy. I feel like he'd be like that with anyone anyway, so he doesn't even have to act. Yeah, it was just brilliant, and the writing I have to praise throughout. Russell writes the character stuff better than anyone. It's these little insignificant moments that I remember about the characters because it makes it real, and it reminds me of the classic era a lot. Like, when I think of Tom Baker and his companions with Leela and Romana, or Seven and Ace, or Sarah Jane, or I can the list goes on. But it's these insignificant moments, these real moments that I remember because it just makes you relate to them. And it feels so real. And then when something dramatic happens to them, you just care so much more. And that's really what I was missing in the recent years of the Chibnall era. So great to see that back. And then, of course, continuing on with the granddaughter storyline, I just found that absolutely heartbreaking. And if we don't get to see Susan Foreman come back in some way or another, even if it's just a small cameo, I do not care. I just want to see her again. I know it's a tragic thought, but I want to see her while we still can. you know, I feel like they have to make the most of her because, yeah, I really want to see her back. If not in the finale, then just please soon. Yeah, I feel like I'm glad that she didn't come back because I think it would have been a bit on the nose if she did just come back because she was called Susan and everything, and the anagram of TARDIS. It would have been too service level for me if this was when she came back. But I feel like so many new fans have been introduced to her now that it would be a waste. And I feel, to be honest, it's been a waste not having her back in the past 40 years. But yeah, I'd love to see Susan come back properly. And then we have that little moment where we get introduced to Susan Triad and this kind of political storyline where she has that audience noise kind of piped into the rehearsal room and then chanting Sutek because of Susan technology. I completely missed that at the start. I didn't even notice. I saw it in a YouTube comment, I think, after the episode, and then I obviously saw it again on rewatch. And it's these things that I don't know how I missed them on first airing, but somehow I do, and then I get to appreciate them more on second watch. So yeah, brilliant details, of which Russell is a master at. And then following on from that, I want to praise Susan Twist for her acting because obviously we've seen very little of her so far. I think the most we've seen of her is in Boom, but still her character was essentially a robot, so it's very difficult to, introduce depth and show off your acting abilities as that character. But this was her time to shine, and she absolutely pulled it off. The way she kind of opened with a warm kindness, and the shock of Kate's face when they find out that she's just nice and that Mel gets on with her really well. It was just absolutely brilliant. And then when she twists and the way she plays the Harbinger at the end, the terror is, she hammers that home so well. It was, yeah, perfect. All credit to Susan Twist, phenomenal actress. And then we get another new character being the scientific executive of, or scientific advisor, isn't it, at UNIT, in Lenny Rush, playing Morris Gibson. He's absolutely fantastic. We love Lenny. He's perfect for this role. I'm so glad that they gave him this bigger part from Space Babies. I feel like it was really worth doing. His reaction when Kate and Ruby are talking about Davina McCall, his reactions in that scene are just absolute gold. It was a beautiful moment. Then we find out that this CCTV footage where they're trying to find Ruby's mother just happens to be 73 yards away, which I don't think we're going to have heard the end of, and I really can't wait to see where that goes. Because it was never really properly explained in episode 4 why 73 yards was that exact distance. So yeah, there must be more to it. I hope there's more to it. And this episode gave me hope for that because I don't think they'd have brought it up otherwise. Then Mrs. Flood. Oh, we have to talk about Mrs. Flood. What a character! Her introduction in this episode, where she's talking to Rose and Ruby, is just hilarious. The way she interacts with that family was just beautiful. Russell writes families so well. He did it with Rose as well, Rose Tyler. But he just brings such relatability to the family and the mother and Carla. And Anita Dobson turns, frightening so incredibly well. We get another fourth wall break, obviously, setting up the Sutek reveal. But yeah, she pulls it off so well. She did it absolutely brilliantly. I can't wait to see who she is, to be honest. What are your theories? I'd love to know. Yeah. And then we get introduced to the time window, of which I have to praise the special effects. The Disney budget really came in clutch in this scene. When we get that transition from reality, and it's kind of merging into the projections of the VHS, and that scene in general where we see Carla seeing the mother crying and saying she's taken her in, essentially, and she's grown into a good person, really. And the music as the mother walks away in that scene is just gorgeous. Murray Gold, again, just keeps upping the bar. It's incredible. And also, I want to just talk about the brilliant TARDIS kind of characterization in this episode. You really see it as an important plot point, but not as just an object. It's presented as a living being, which I think often gets forgotten. So it's really nice to kind of bring that to the forefront. And that scene just before the Sutekh reveal, where the camera is just completely like front on at the TARDIS, I felt like it was seeing me, It was kind of terrifying, but you also felt sympathetic for it, because the TARDIS has just been this innocent kind of bystander in this godly takeover. It was heartbreaking, to be honest, and done really well, And then, of course, we get onto the Sutekh reveal. And the build-up of this was just perfect. The way the storylines converged, the two parallels between Susan Triad and Ruby's mother, the way they combined at the end was just perfect. And the subtle voice changes as Susan is doing the speech, brilliant. The CGI of the dog on top of the TARDIS was amazing, and the corpses. Firstly, the corpse when we first find out that the soldier died, and also the prosthetics on Susan and Harriet, when the harbingers are possessed. Just, it was horrific and just perfect. It was absolutely terrifying. I'm so glad I did not watch this at midnight. The music, brilliant. And again, the Doctor, he just steals the limelight whenever he's on screen, and Nshute's reactions were gold. I've not seen the original episode where Sutekh first appeared, the Pyramids of Mars, with Tom Baker. I will have to go back and watch it, because I've never seen it before. The name I was familiar with, but I don't think I could have told you that Sutekh was a god, or anything about the threat that they pose now. But I cannot wait for the final episode. I'm so sad it's ending up. We need more episodes. But yeah, the quality has just been on another level. I had extremely high expectations for this ep, and I was not disappointed. Russell just keeps continuing to blow me away. It was absolutely amazing. What did you think of this episode? What do you think of the Sutekh reveal? And what do you think is going to happen? What are your theories for the next episode? How do you think this is all going to tie up and conclude? I have no idea how Russell is going to do it, but I have high hopes and I have faith. I can't wait for next week now. The waiting between these episodes is getting longer and longer and longer. But yeah, all credit to everyone involved. The quality of these episodes has been outstanding. Long may it continue. That's what I'd say. But yeah, thank you for listening. Please, I will love to know your thoughts, and I will speak to you again next week for the finale. I'll see you then. Bye bye.